Take your event to the next level with Crossroads TV. Professional audio and video production, multi-camera live streaming, audio system for your panels and entertainment, plus stunning video screen production on LED walls. High quality, seamless production, tailored to your needs. Let us bring your vision to life. Contact us today.
And we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have a roll call. Everybody here? Except Lee actually is here attending via Zoom. Everybody's present. Do we have disclosures of any conflicts of interest? And we're set to start with the budget.
So page 21.
You?
I believe that's the first one we're doing, administration. Don't believe there's a whole lot of changes to that, other than some salary increases. That's going to change a little bit with Katie leaving, because we're going to reapportion part of her position, and Sherry's going to take over the budget process.
So we're gonna give Sherry a small bump, but she's only gonna put in like, I'm gonna split her between, right now it was between Public Works and Fire. She's gonna get split 3 ways as far as her salary.
Okay, I get it.
So you're not filling the
Katie,
position Katie had?
not with a full-time position.
Okay, so do you know how much you're gonna save from that?
Well,
Have you figured that amount out yet?
yeah, Sherry is gonna end up on the administrative side was, don't quote me. It's like 21,700
Increase?
will be the, where it will be charged to the administrative budget instead of Katie's, whatever she was making,
65.
65.
Okay.
So it's pretty good
It's a,
savings.
it's a pretty good savings, and it gives, Sherry a bump. And my feeling is that when the new manager comes in, if he wants to do something different next year or whatever, then he can try to fine tune what
Yeah.
works for that
I'm sorry,
person.
the savings was like 40,000.
That's okay with you, Sherry?
Yes.
Okay.
And with that, Tanya's gonna take over paying the bills like she was doing before. So we've shifted those responsibilities. There's other responsibilities changing with tax collector and deputy tax collector. Yeah. And part of it's because if Vanessa gets certified as the assessor, she can't be tax collector because it's direct, illegal, I guess.
So on that, I'm sorry, with the Katie position, I'm sorry to call it that,
Yep.
Katie. With that position, that 397 is gonna go down, that number? Do you have a new number for that?
I don't have that. We didn't go all the way through, I mean, unless she wants to put it in now. Because we have other changes, I figured we'll get that all to you, but next budget meeting, we'll give you some new sheets and if that's,
That would take. Page 63 of the other.
So Paul, your proposal then is to take Katie's job responsibilities and divide them up between Sherry and Tanya, well, the other girls in the office.
well, just Tanya's gonna go back to doing the
Tanya.
accounts payable and paying the warrants, which she was doing before. And Sherry's gonna do all the budget stuff until the end of the budget.
Okay, so Sherry will be working for 3 departments then.
Yes.
And how much, is there an hourly split on that, or is there a,
I had to split it.
how much time is that gonna take Sherry away from you and away from fire?
Well, the thing is, with the laptop, she can do a lot of the budget stuff either at my place or at fire.
Yeah, that I understand, but it's still
So-
time, it's still a time factor.
Right, but there's time when she's not all that busy, and I'm not saying that in the wrong way, but, I mean, we do payroll, we pay bills, and some other days, unless we have projects going, she's not that busy, so she'll be able to allocate her time, I trust her.
It's okay with you, Sherry, you just said, yeah?
And it's pretty much just moving her up to like a management position,
Correct.
finance manager or something. Yep.
So like I say, if a new manager comes in and he wants to do something different, and they put it in their way of thinking, then, I'm trying not to dictate too far for the future, but leave those options open,
All right, thank you.
but we
But
just.
if a new manager comes in, when a new manager comes in, Paul, and if that manager feels for whatever reason they need more hours in these girls' work, can we leave some money in the budget
We can.
for that, just in case?
That's your call.
If the new town manager thinks he needs more help, so to speak, because of whatever reasons,
Right,
we want to make sure that halfway through the season,
right.
through the fiscal year, or 9 months through the fiscal year, and they're busy as hell in there, that we get the money to add on hours and to either the 3 that are, while they're already working full-time, or get somebody else in
Right.
to handle that
And
situation.
you might have a manager like we had in the past that did all the budget
Well,
stuff
we might.
themselves.
The
Right,
new
because
town
Katie's
man-
position's only been here, it
Right,
was COVID
right. When Mike
funded, so
Heaven
it's
was
only
here,
been 2 years.
Mike did all the budget himself,
Right.
so.
I got a question, Tanya. How do you feel about the extra work going on to you?
Well, it's kind of putting her on the spot for a budget.
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it? All right, thank you.
So Katie's job was 65. Any idea what part of that 65 is gonna have to go to Sherry?
I had figured 700 hours at $31 an hour gives 21,700.
So it's a savings of like 40,000.
44.
44?
So if you wanna put, you know, whatever, an extra 10, you're still saving some serious money.
I wouldn't put an extra anything this year. I think we ought to just go with what you suggested.
If I may, while you're discussing numbers as far as the administration, we did also, today we had to put in, we filled the front counter position that was vacant, so she did come in with a considerable amount more experience than the current person who's currently in there, so that did add $2,000. So if you want to take whatever number you just subtracted out and add about 2,000, and we can get you exact numbers on that.
That leaves us 42,000 ahead, right?
I mean, we have a lady coming in that's got about 21 years' experience, so.
Good, a savings is a savings.
Well, the only thing we're gonna be careful of, if that new town manager comes in and wants, or needs, more help, there won't be any money in the budget to do it.
They'll have to wait till next year. They've all agreed to doing it. Paul thought it through, figured it out. The girls are on board with it. It's a go. They all agreed they can do it.
Well, I don't doubt that they can't do the job, and I'm sure they will do the job. But if more hours are required during the next fiscal year, then we're gonna be short.
What's next, Paul?
That's pretty much it for the admin, I believe, right? What's next on your,
Well, if you wanted to go over the admin operating expense, that
Oh.
would be next.
you guys wanna go through the expenses for operating?
Line by line would be good, the whole thing.
I mean, building maintenance, obviously, from the year before, we spent 25, we've spent more than half now, so, and I'm going by, were all Ella's numbers, so I'm just,
So I can speak on that line if you
Sure.
don't mind. Ella had actually significantly decreased that last year, and by her own admission, that was because she didn't quite understand what was regularly coming out of that account. So that's why we're going to go quite a bit over, because it was reduced lower than we should have last year.
She under budgeted,
yeah.
Yeah, correct.
but you're keeping it at 25,
I mean, back in 24, we spent 25,000.
right?
Then she had brought it down to 15, and we're probably on track to be spending
25.
25,
close to 20, so,
yeah.
so
Yep.
25, I think, is a reasonable number. Electricity is pretty much the same. Sewage, obviously our costs go up, as our sewer rates go up, every department pays for their own sewage, so. The water fees, the same thing, water rates have gone up from the Kennebec Water, so.
Why is the auditing going up so much?
What auditing? Oh, we're not down there yet.
On the building maintenance, part of that increase, is that because we put so much into the fire department because of the mold
It's 'cause she-
mitigation?
No, I don't
She under-
believe
she
that goes on
under-budgeted
this
it.
line item at all, does it? This is strictly the town office part of the building.
Okay, all right.
And food for thought in the very near future, that part of the building's gonna need a roof. It's been leaking off and on, and it's got some age, because it was there before me, and
We had put a new roof on that, right?
we put a roof, the one on the town office has been there since before I came. The fire department was done after I came. So the town office part, and I don't know who did it, because we usually deal with CO Beck, and the last time they were up there, they said it's not their roof, so I don't know.
No, it wasn't Beck that did it.
I don't know who else would have done
The
it. but
Panett, probably.
It's possible, like I said, I'm not familiar with those other contractors, but,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got some age, so. And it's a beautiful flat roof in Maine, so.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Most of the other utilities, telephone, that's all gone up. Heating oil is about the same, because we've spent 10.6, which is, we pre-buy, so that should not go up for this year, but, and I think our heating oil prices that came in the other day stayed about the same.
Did you get those in yet, Paul? I know the school has them.
Yes, I do,
They're good?
yes. Don't ask me what the numbers are.
No, but I was told they went down a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
We changed supplier, which, with the new bids,
yeah.
which happens almost every year. I stayed with Dead River as far as for heat, diesel and gas, because we've had good luck with them, their prices are good, and that's more of a pain when we change from one to the other and dealing with.
Shopping for it, yeah.
Well, right now, we make a phone call, and within 2 days, the truck's here, and they've been very good for that, and some other suppliers aren't quite so good, so when you're looking at storms and trying to make sure you get enough fuel for a storm, and you're waiting for a truck, because actually last year, they haven't been charging us the contract price, they've been charging us less than the contract price, so can't complain.
Okay.
Hopefully, they don't realize they can come back, but I think so. What else is in there?
The heating?
Heating fuel, like I said, that's the heating. Miscellaneous supplies, we're at about 50%, so she brought that down from last year by 1,000. Dual subscriptions has gone up a little bit. I think training's gone up too, probably. I'm gonna guess probably, because probably, getting somebody new in here, they're probably gonna be taking some extra classes and get up to speed. The auditing, I'll have to defer to Katie on that one, though, if you have insight on the numbers.
I honestly don't. I would assume that it's just because they're raising their rates. Do you know, Tanya?
I know Hank's going up, I don't know about Eric. I believe they usually go up 2 to 3% every year.
I believe they both went up this year. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head as to the split.
Because I'm gonna guess this, what's already been spent probably doesn't include Eric, because I don't know if we've paid him yet or not, because he hasn't delivered, so.
I can check that real quick.
Did you guys all get new computers? Big increase there. Wow.
From 250.
Percentage, I should say.
250 to, 250 to 500.
You've already used 186% of it, though, right?
Yes. You don't do much for $250 if you go out and buy a computer, so.
Well, again, that must have been way under budgeted, because you're
It must have
way over.
been, and I don't know if she didn't think she was going to buy something and ended up buying an extra one, a new one, or.
We don't have an in-house tech person, do we?
No, we
It's
share
just
with-
that one guy?
Well, we have 3
From
guys in
Waterville?
Waterville that,
Sharon from Waterville?
yes.
Yeah.
And we pay for that service, I'm gonna assume that's part of that contracted services, or the application, yeah. And really, for what we're paying them, it'd be hard to have our own person
Yes.
with enough experience and the capabilities.
Well, I just see it was under budgeted in both places for the tech part, so,
And like I said, I can't speak to how she did it last year, maybe she didn't realize she needed that kind of money, or I'm sure she was trying to be frugal. Postage is stayed the same roughly, yeah, it did,
On the legal fees, is that for Bill?
yes. Bill.
that's for Bill
It's for
only?
both.
No, that's for both.
And for contracted services, that's for the 2 IT people?
I think,
I can answer that in just a second. That's for a variety of things. That's for our payroll, Zoom, shredding on site, invoices, BMV, and the code enforcement system that we have.
where does the building janitor come out of?
That's out of building maintenance.
Okay, I knew we had a guy we paid to upkeep the building, floors and whatever, okay.
And to answer your question, the only person who's come out of the auditing so far is Hank.
Okay. Further questions that I can't answer?
Do you know if the auditor was supposed to have been here last month? Is he gonna be here this month? March? Is that the plan?
No, because
He told us he was gonna come, he's emailed me requesting documents, so
Okay.
he'll do that.
pretty much puts us. We got different numbers again. I don't know what binder he's got, but his numbers are all different.
We'll get you new binders before the next budget, because we'll have most of it squared away, so.
I have an extra copy of all the replacement pages. The only one not in there is the one I gave you last time.
Okay.
So the administration is probably the second or third one down.
Yeah,
This one's right.
this-
So
yeah,
if you subtracted that,
yeah.
you're gonna be just the same as you were
How
last.
is it I get the
You
wrong
must have been
sheet?
the bad guy.
We did that on purpose.
Yeah.
See if he was paying attention, we were.
Just kidding. We good on administration?
Yes.
I think so.
I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Who's next? Town council?
Yep.
Yes. It's on the next page.
Nova, flip over
22.
Page 22.
at the top. That's right.
I hope so.
There's another 6,000 for legal fees.
That's legal fees for the council for, I'm assuming when you guys reach out to Bill and have council questions as opposed to like what Steve and Bill have been working on like personnel matters.
Okay. So that's a total of 46,000.
That's correct.
Yeah, but is the town council salary also for when he attends council meetings?
Yes.
Yes. And that's the same as it was last year. You guys didn't take a pay increase. That's pretty cut and dry on that one as well.
Why does it show we have a 0 revised budget?
For legal fees from the year before.
Yeah.
There probably wasn't any money budgeted for it. Is all I can assume.
There wasn't.
Wasn't.
I think what they did last year, Adam, or maybe the year before, we had one line item in the whole budget for legal fees. And then they tried to separate them out to different purposes.
It
Different
had
reason.
been separate, but I think that when Ella was going through entering her numbers, she
Yeah.
wasn't aware of that, and had just
Yeah.
put everything under administration.
Okay.
We good on town council?
Yes.
Assessing would be next. Am I correct?
Having Vanessa join me so that she can learn how to get money. Hope everyone's well tonight.
Thank you.
You as well.
You too.
Rather small budget, but it's an important one. This year, you're going to see an increase in it. And there may have been 2 more years in my past 15 that we've asked for more of a significant increase than other years. But there are some good reasons for this one this year. If we go line by line, we can talk about the salaries. I don't enter any amounts for salaries. We typically leave that up to the town manager to apply the percentage increases. As you'll notice, probably the overall salary budget is decreased because Vanessa will be coming on. And effective July 1st, it will assume her salary and not mine. There is a $20,000 line item in there for putting me on retainer if needed to come back and help Vanessa get through the year into commitment to make sure everything goes smoothly. As needed, as I said.
Judy, that's awful expensive.
Not really.
They're supposed to cut us a deal or something.
That is a big deal. And I'm gonna tell you how I've saved more money over the last
I'm
15
sure.
years.
So that's that overtime line?
Yes,
Is that
yeah.
your consulting fees?
Yes, yep. As you know, May 1st is my retirement date. But again, I have agreed to be on retainer and help Vanessa through the summer, and teach her the ways as we go through the year and into commitment so that everything is done properly and she understands the process and you get the same process that you've been getting in the past. Other than that, we have the maintenance contracts is going to look a little different this year. Typically, we have vision appraisal software that does our assessment data. They typically have hosted our database online for us for many, many years, and it's gone up almost every single year. It's very, very expensive. And I've had a colleague that's been reaching out to me constantly, and I finally caved in and I said, you know, this really does make sense for a couple of reasons. So if you look at the first one, it says something about the CAI being a $3,000 setup fee. They would begin to host our database for us and our maps, and they would all be integrated very nicely. That company also will offer the services of actually updating tax maps or doing any other GIS or mapping type systems that you may need in the future, even for code enforcement. He did come in and do a demonstration for us, and Garrett and Vanessa were both very impressed with what it could do for them. There's several layers that you can add to that over the years if you need it, even internally, for anybody and for the public to be able to look at all of the sales in the town, for instance, picking out, and it will show us different colors. A lot of analysis that can go along with it as well. So again, it's a $3,000 setup fee, one time only. And then it's a $3,000 annual fee. And then Vision this year is, I think, over $4,500. $4,400 to have Vision host again this year, as we have in the past. Their prices have gone up quite a bit. You're going to see also under a little bit down further about the application software, 55812. That is a huge increase this year. Everybody's feeling it across New England. I'm not sure why they're doing that, because their service isn't as good as it used to be.
Because they can.
Got tax
Yeah.
300 or 3,000.
The copier lease and the
Tax
plotter
bill.
lease are shared with the code enforcement officer. The plotter lease has been a real godsend. That is our wide format printer that
Maps,
actually
maps.
prints out all of our tax maps, our zoning maps, projects. We can scan large plans and keep them electronically or make copies. It's been a really great piece of equipment for us to use. And we really do use it for a lot of the different departments. Even the fire department got a big blown up sketch of their fire truck, which was kind of cool.
I mean, I use them too when
Yeah.
I get plans coming from, like, say, Wright Pierce. She can print them out for
Yeah,
me
it's pretty nice.
in the size that you can actually see instead of like an 8x11.
Right.
You know?
So that is a typical lease cost that we've been experiencing. There's no increase in that. The telephone is pretty generic. That's just a monthly fee that's been shared by all of us in the office. The supplies is pretty generic as well. That's your typical business cards. Envelopes probably are the biggest things. The plotter paper, the wide format paper is expensive, and the ink is as well. But again, $700 for the whole year just to support that isn't too terribly bad. The next item, the GIS support, that is not used as much as it probably could be, but it's really it's sort of a standby for when we need to reach out to my consultant, Mike White. He's with Dirigo Spatial, and he's the one that set me up when I first started 15 years ago doing tax maps and the GIS system. He's brilliant, and he always teaches somebody one-on-one when he's in there servicing for you. So that may have to increase in the future, and I'm saying that because since I've been here 15 years ago, I brought in my experience in working with GIS mapping. So you'd be hard pressed, honestly, to find an assessor to come in and actually know how to do that today. You have to hire out. So I've saved you $75,000 over the 15 years.
Thank you, Judy. We'll remember that at your retirement party.
Thank you.
Judy, I got a question.
Yes.
On that, the tax map,
Yes.
the new program that you were talking about that you'll be able to use as well as Garrett, wouldn't that take care of that as well?
No, the CAI is the one that's going to hold the data.
Okay.
And the GIS support mapping is literally having somebody like Mike White or CAI come in and actually teach her how to do it herself. It also, if there was another project that we wanted to do, in other words, about 5 or 6 years ago, we had him come in and teach me how to do the zoning maps. So we take it out of that. Maybe 2 hours. Sometimes there's a glitch in our GIS software program, and he can come in and just fix it. And that's what that's for. It's a little separate piece because we do have the ArcGIS software that we purchased, and we own it, so he's able to come in and maintain that for us.
Okay. So
it
we
is
own the
a little
program, we're
bit
not paying
separate.
monthly on it?
No.
Okay.
No. The CAI this year would only be database online, hosting it. So if you look at Waterville, they've got the same thing right now, and it's pretty slick. It really is. We can also do more updates if we want to. Currently, with the Vision software program, online hosting, we only update it once a year at the time of commitment so that it reflects everybody as of April 1st. We like to do that because quite often we're making changes throughout the year and we don't want those to show up yet as far as assessments. But this, we could actually update it every week if we wanted to. It'll give you several options of how you want your information printed. Again, if you go to the Waterville site, it's really pretty slick. It's nice and it's user-friendly, very nice. Tax billing has always been in my budget, and that's perfectly fine. So I did a little research, and the only increase to us this year will be in the postage. So that's pretty well set. I think we may have under budgeted last year a little bit. The dues, seminars, and training is an extremely vital part of the assessor's budget. There are so many different laws that have been enacted, and there are so many on the books right now that we have to be aware of so that we can provide that information to our taxpayers, such as the the tax fairness credit. There's several different parts and pieces that are constantly changing. So we're always making sure that we're part of the membership. We get the legislative bulletins from MMA. We go to meetings, we go to trainings. A lot of them are actually free, which is really nice. But there are a couple that they have every year that are a little bit more than your typical Zoom meeting. And it's an extremely important part of networking. So that's a part of what we've done every single year.
Judy, have we had a lot of people come in to take credits on as far as the taxes this year?
A lot of people have been coming in and asking questions because of the blurbs we put out there, and a lot of the social media has been sharing those and really making it clear that they can come in and talk with us, and we will guide them in what they can and can't do. We have we have 2 applicants in the deferral program, which is unbelievable. That's a huge decision for somebody to want to defer their taxes and have the state pay for it, and then somebody's gonna have to pay that back at some point. That's a huge commitment. The other one is the tax fairness credit. And again, even if you don't file main state income return, you can actually apply for this at that same point.
Judy, you have to file a state tax return for the
You do,
tax fairness
not as
credit.
far as I'm concerned. Was told that there's a separate form, it's an addendum to the return, and that's all you have to file.
Yes.
Yes.
But you have to file it with the state.
Yes, with the
Yes.
state.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yep, that's correct. So I really tried to segregate all of the costs based on research and what we feel that the training needs are for the office. Mostly this will be a huge asset to Vanessa going forward during July to June. I think I'm probably done, so being trained, I'm not sure. I'll actually be doing a lot of training this summer if anybody's interested. And then we've got a little bit of a set aside for the admin assistant, so that she can enjoy a little training and little networking and also get up to speed on what an assessor does and what she's supposed to be doing. The computer hardware budget is just a minimal standby again for if we need a keyboard or if we need a mouse pad or a new mouse or something like that. That's really all that's for, maybe a monitor. We did have to get a couple of new computers and new monitors, but that came out of your capital, which has been set aside for things like that. So that worked out very well too. The next item, the application software, again, is a pretty significant increase this year. Not hundreds of thousands, but thousands. The postage is pretty well set. $800 should cover it. The biggest thing that we have that costs us money is the personal property mailing, where we send our request for declarations of equipment. That's an annual mailing that we do every year to about 350 businesses. Some of those businesses are actually leasing companies that have equipment located in Winslow. And the other part of that, the biggest part of that, are the certified mailings. They are so expensive, it's ridiculous. And we, by law and statute, have to send certain notifications by certified mail. Tree growth penalties, letters, reminders, there are things that we have to send that way. The contracted services is something that we actually started implementing about 5 years ago. And that was because we were getting to the point where our utilities were increasing in size and they were having a lot of work done. CMP had come through with that huge corridor off the Albion Road, and there was a lot more going on utility-wise. So Bill Van Tynen is my go-to. He's probably very close to extreme retirement. I mean, he just is. He keeps saying he's going to retire, but he comes in and visits and said, "What you got?" You know, he's a great person, extremely intelligent, and he's always been very willing to not only come in and appraise a certain utility for us for very minimal cost, but also to show us what he's done so that we can explain it and understand it, which is huge for me. He likes to be able to train as he does it as well.
You're definitely gonna need him next year with CMP's
Yes.
new project too.
And yes, in fact, we do have him contracted for whatever we think we need this year. Let's see, he did Brookfield a couple of years ago, and their generation was down a lot, so we did lose. That was the year of the reval. It was unfortunate, but it had to be done, and I didn't want to have to go through an appeal process with that. It's too big. The CMP is the other one, and then the solar farms. There's one solar farm that is not tax exempt because it's over 5 megawatts. That one was a scary project for me, and it was so big that I had to have him come in and do what they call a cash flow discount analysis, and it's extremely complicated
Where
and
is that one
very
lo-
confidential. The one off Peachtree Lane.
Okay,
Yep, up in the back, off Escalins.
yep.
And so he did that one for us, and he set up a whole spreadsheet so that we can do the depreciation every year. It's perfect. And we have 2 new solar farms that are in operation, but they're under 5, so they'll be tax exempt. So we're going to be assessing those as though it was personal property, but under the land value. And the only reason I say that is because we don't really need to hire somebody to come in and do that same sort of cost analysis that we did with the big one. So we're going to be all set with that one. I'm pretty confident that we'll have Bill probably work on our CMP this year and make sure that he's aware, and he is, of all of the new lines coming through and being replaced. So that will be a really good base for her to have going forward. Really good. So that's that one. And then the last one is just the Board of Assessment review. We had one hearing that was scheduled, and the applicant did not show up to either one of the meetings that we held, and he did not have enough information to deem it to be one way or the other, so it was denied. And that's honestly the only Board of Assessment review hearing we had this past year, and even during the reval. So I think we've done very well with that. But if there's a hearing, then we have to have the attorney present for them to make sure they go through the process correctly. And that's for the interest of the town. We want to make sure that we've done it correctly, so there's no errors going forward in that process to appeal, because it could end up in court. You want to make sure everything's covered.
Just the person you said that didn't show up, and why didn't he show up?
And we had given this person the opportunity to actually zoom in, and they declined even addressing it after several reminders. So the Board of Assessment Review, again, is, we've got a great board. There's 5 of them. They go to training when MMA offers it, and they're very well versed. We've had a couple of workshops and a couple of business organizational meetings, and they've done very well to be very dedicated to that. The only other 2 items I have really on this is the capital improvements, but that's probably going to come up another time. But it's really the same thing that we've been putting in all the time, and it's to gear up towards a revaluation in about 10 years possibly. And also the assessing technology is a $5,000 capital improvement that we put away. We had hopes of spending that on pretty much anything that we need to move forward, and one of those was the aerial imagery that we've been buying into with the state. That's a huge asset and tool for myself as the assessor to look at the imagery and see what's changed over 5-year increments. So we can also use that assessing technology for whatever she's going to need going further. I know Vanessa and Garrett have got very young brains and very, very energetic people, very dedicated to what they're doing, and they've had discussions that have blown my mind. I mean, they have had discussions that are really going to set you guys up for a really good future as far as technology. You know, their mindset is in that field. So there's a lot of different things that they work out together in the office, so it's very impressive, and I think you guys will be in really good shape.
Those capitals are on page 51, if you guys want to look at those.
Yeah, those are the only 2 I have, really.
And just so you're aware, the Board of Assessment Reviews is actually under Community Services on page 38.
Oh, that's right,
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay.
Page 51, she has her 2, the money set aside for reval, and then the aerial images.
Yeah. I'd welcome any questions. I've got some notes here,
Judy,
specifics.
with getting to the reval stuff, the monthly reports that you've been giving us show that houses in Winslow are still selling for considerably more than the reval numbers. If that trend continues, what advice do you have for us?
Vanessa and I have talked about that quite a bit, and in fact, we had our state rep Nancy Weeks in last week doing our audit for us. They come in every year, and it's for state valuation purposes. They look over everything. I think I put that in my monthly report as well. And I've spoken with a lot of assessors who are facing the same exact thing. And the best thing for Winslow is that we had our revaluation. So we have a good base to start with as far as the inventory on the ground. That was something I was really missing since 2008. We can actually factor the residential properties if we think we need to, or the condos. The condos, we feel, are like 25% of what our assessments are about 25% of what they're selling for. And the residentials are at about 80% of what they're selling for, our assessments, already. So this year we're okay, we can certify it 100% because the state valuation is 1.5 years old. But next year, we'll see the residential developed ratio probably at about 80%. So we'd only be able to certify at 88 unless we factor the whole way across.
What does factoring mean, Judy? Does that
Factoring
mean?
means just bring everybody up about 10%. I wouldn't go full blown and bring it right to 100%, but I would recommend that you look at what the sales are doing at this point, maybe even next year, and then make a decision as whether you want it to go up 5 or just 10%, just to buffer it a little bit,
And
keep
that,
everybody equal.
if we get that right, chances are that when we do our 10-year reval, we're not gonna get hit with a big increase
It
again.
should be easier to make those factorings because of what we've had done. And then the reval in 10 years, or whenever you decide you need to do it, is really going to be looking at the inventory again. And the type of properties that are selling might have switched. In other words, condos are more hot, they're hotter on the market right now than a residential property. Smaller ranches are a hotter commodity than your big, huge, expensive homes. So there are trends and there are changes. So it may get to that point where a company may have to come in, or it could be a consultant that you could hire and not have to do a big, huge reval, knocking on doors. You could hire a consultant to come in and say, how should we apply a factor to these different types of properties this year? Instead of just everybody at the same level. There might be some fluctuations. So we're really in a good position as far as the main towns right now. A lot of people still haven't had revaluations, they're at 50%. It's crazy.
So are you saying that the houses right now are selling more than what the valuation is?
Yes.
Is that maybe because there's been a lot of out-of-staters that's been buying
Oh,
them?
there's a lot, yes. Yep. A lot of them are sight unseen, but the other interesting thing that Vanessa and I noticed is that a lot of the properties that were selling in that market a couple of years ago, they've transferred to a new owner at even more.
Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And we all were hoping that it would settle down a little bit so we could stay pat.
So you're gonna suggest, Judy, that next year we look into
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
to prevent that
And
big.
it can be
that
done
big
in the
one.
house next year. It can.
Right, yeah.
The other asset, or the other, I'm sorry, not asset. The other positive you have here is that with Garrett as code officer, and I'm not just saying it because it's Garrett, but I am. But no, honestly, Garrett and Vanessa both are extremely on it. And we, especially Vanessa, we've created a process in the office that nothing's getting by us anymore. And it was such a turnover over the years that I was not getting the permits, or somebody was building without getting a permit, nobody did anything about it. And now it is pretty well set up so that people know what to expect from our office. You know, what kind of permits they need to get. And it's a very good relationship as well. So it's pretty good.
So the days of people trying to get away with something without a permit and knowing their value, those days are gone? You think,
I'd
you hope?
say most of it, yes. Yeah.
So, and I believe, Vanessa, you're close to being certified? Is that what I understood today?
I just took my exam last Wednesday.
Waiting to hear.
Waiting to hear. Usually it takes like 30 days, right around there. They have up to 30 days to grade everyone's exams. So I am patiently waiting. Or impatiently waiting.
With a good feeling.
I have a good feeling.
Good for you. Yep, good.
I wanted to share that with you guys.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for Judy or Vanessa?
I think so. Oh, I have one question. Vanessa, the person that's taking your place, how is she doing?
She's doing good. It's definitely coming from that position. It's a big learning curve trying to understand assessing and codes. I think the thing that's working in her favor is she doesn't have to do tax collecting as well, because that's a whole other system that is very confusing to jump into. We're in the slower season right now. I wouldn't say it's really slow, but I know it's definitely different than when I started in August of 23, just because we did the reval, so our phone was ringing and ringing and ringing, and people were in the office. So this is definitely a slower influx into what she's learning, so it's a little bit easier to kind of sit down there and talk to her really about what do you do in planning board meetings, what do you do in zoning board meetings, how do I take the minutes, how are you going to take the minutes, what works for you may not work for what I was doing, how she answers people. Learning vision is a huge thing too, so we have the time to kind of spend with her while I'm also learning from Judy, so.
Now, has she had any experience before that?
No.
No? Okay.
No, but I came in with no experience, and I'm not perfect. I definitely made mistakes, but I had a really good teacher, and getting to work with Garrett too, I've learned quite a bit, and I feel like we're able to actually really teach her the right way this time.
Okay. Thank you.
What a great team.
Yes, very.
All set?
All set.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much.
Where are we going next?
That's up to you if you want to go in order or go to code enforcement.
We can do code if Garrett wants to. What page are we on?
Cool, but
That is page 30.
Thank you.
How's it going?
good, Garrett. How you doing?
Good. This is my first budget meeting with Winslow. So we'll go right line from line, the same as the others did.
What page?
The administration salaries.
Page 30.
30?
Page
Yep.
30.
My bad. All set? So the administration salaries, it increased a little bit due to me taking a little bit more money than the last prior guy did, and then also the yearly raise is a 3%. So I didn't touch that at all. It just went through management, and they added the pay raise that way. Car allowance. I think this is the only thing I would like one conversation on is, so when we went through the budget process, I allotted and kept a stay at 4,000 due to the game plan was the cruiser that actually got in the accident was the cruiser that I was going to purchase out of my code enforcement budget with the 4,000. We sat down, we made an agreement. That was the right cost for that cruiser to keep it in the town and allow me to stop using my personal vehicle. I have a 4-door, full-size Chevy pickup. It's got 4-wheel drive, it's equipped with lights. And I just feel like $4,000 isn't really, I would have sat and talked about this. I think $4,000 in lieu of me finding at least 30 to 40 different builds happening without permits and making them pay for permits and how much I drive daily. I feel like 4,000 is hard when you're looking at $3 plus for gas. And I'm, like I said, I mean, I could put on 10 to 15 miles driving around Winslow from the town office and back. So I think that would be the only thing that I would like for you guys. I mean, I would do it with $4,000, but I'll tell you, it's definitely weighs on me on how pulling up to the gas pump every week, and it's my wear and tear on my tires, my motor is depreciating my own vehicle. So that's the only thing that kind of sucked is we didn't have that conversation because the game plan was I'm gonna purchase that vehicle from the police department once it came out.
How much you
And
think you need, Garrett?
I would like to see it at least raised to 6. I think
Give us a
6
number.
would- What's that?
Give us a number, what you think would be fair for you to use your own
I
vehicle.
think 6 would give me that leeway of not feeling like I'm like, because I bet you I'm probably paying more than $4,000 in the long run of the upkeep of my vehicle and the gas. Definitely paying more than $4,000. I think $6,000 would be looking at me not worried about a call and be like, yeah, I'll be right there, you know, and because then it, you know, I feel like at $4,000 I'd have to be like, I'll do 4 inspections and have to really maintain miles, and I wouldn't like to do that. I'd rather just be on the fly like how I am. I follow people out the door. They walk in, want an inspection. I say, you want it now? We'll go. If I got a free time, I'm not wasting that. So that's really the only conversation point I'd like to have, is that the car allowance kind of took a big turn with the Cruiser being smashed up and me having to stick again with using my personal vehicle. And I think it's a very nice vehicle with suited with my own lights and stuff to do the safety work that I'm doing.
Now, what happens if you get in an accident with that vehicle while you're out? Is that on you or is that on the town?
Don't know. I think that's kind of been my big thing on, like, I look around at all the vehicles that the town of Winslow has, and I'm sitting here probably doing more driving than any other department. I bet you I come pretty close with the police department if they're doing patrols. Other than that, I bet you I'm the top driver along with Public Works, because I mean, during the summertime, come to my office, you're probably not gonna find me, I'm running.
Can I interrupt? Is there a vehicle that the town has that you could use instead?
They had a Honda Civic, and when I first came here, I was like, boy. I took pictures, and it was kind of funny too. So I took pictures to show why that car was not suitable. When I go to places, it's not a nice paved driveway. It's a brand new skidder run dirt drive for us to land in a foundation. Very, you know, like I do at times where I am pulling in a nice paved driveway, but a lot of times I'm on a construction site and newly built areas. And then the winter time, like I was just down at one of the pond roads, that stuff doesn't stop just because it's winter. And I mean, I wouldn't have got out of there if I didn't have my 4-wheel drive truck. So that's why I was like, the all-wheel drive Cruisers that the police have would have been a suitable fix. But yeah, no, I took pictures of my Jeep when I had my Jeep. And I went to take pictures on why I thought this car wasn't suitable. And during those pictures, I actually, coming out of there, I hit so hard at ruts that my radiator hose blew. And I went and did an inspection. The guy called me, hey, you know, and so what did I do? I have to go and buy a part, fix my Jeep. And you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, these are things that I'm dealing with just to provide the services. It's kind of put on me to do my start. You know what I mean? Like, I just wouldn't have, if I didn't have to use it for work, I'd just be, hey, can you give me a ride to work? And I get in my vehicle and I drive. But instead, I'm like, I gotta pay for that $900 part instead of waiting for it in the mail because I need my truck by tomorrow. People need to continue my work. So I think that's just the one thing that's hard. It's really hard to figure out how the cost might be on a personal vehicle, just because sometimes I get sent down somewhere and, I mean, you know, user's discretion, but how many times if you wanted to take your nice new vehicle down a rutted up drive with the trees hanging and, you know, so I think that's just something that plays into the personal vehicle part.
I'd be worried about the accidents too, just like the police officer in the car. You know, if that happened to you, who's going to cover your vehicle? How are we going to keep going forward with the code enforcement? And
Paul?
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
'Cause I don't
Tommy,
know.
do you have an answer to that question? Garrett has his own vehicle. We pay him a car allowance. He gets in an accident.
It's on him.
It's his fault.
It's on him.
Let's say it's not his
Even
fault,
if he is not
Doesn't-
driving
it's his
the
insurance.
town vehicle, it is-
It's his insurance.
even if he's on town business.
So Paul, do you have a vehicle he could drive?
Well, we had that Toyota Corolla we picked up a couple of years ago on a repoed house that had been set up for the code, but it's not the best vehicle to go off-road.
Who else? Judy's still here? Judy, do you have a car allowance?
I do.
How does
Hers is
that
the
work
same
with
as
you?
mine.
Same.
We have the same amount.
Yeah, no, but I mean for your insurance.
I would have to pay for it myself.
Yes, and I think you gotta check with one thing too, you folks. If you're using your vehicle on town business, you better check with your insurance company that you're covered. that issue has come up many a time.
Fran, are you aware of any vehicle they could use?
No, I just look and I think the police department, we're giving them 2. Public Works, we're giving them 3. It's getting to the point where there's more vehicles we're giving out than people that actually work here. And that's at the cost of the taxpayers.
I think that was kind of my one thing is like, it's hard to, I mean, like, cause like it's hard for me and I don't have all the data to sit here and actually show you right now as I speak, but I mean like, having me clean cut in a nice truck that has lights and I pull in somewhere, I tell you what, I can enforce something better than somebody scraggly looking in a Corolla. I promise you 110%. You know, if I'm on point, that means my brain's on point, you know, because I don't mess around. That's why I'm clean cut. So it's the same type of scenario as it's just, because I mean, my department is no different than the police department and fire department. Why do I say that? Because I'm public safety. That's all I'm ever doing is public safety. Without me, houses will be crammed up on top of each other. You'll have nuclear power plants in your backyard. People will be living in unsafe conditions. Fire hazards, like you saw when I first came in, I cleaned up a massive fire. You know, so I think it's just one of those points that like, I think that car would work really good if we didn't live in a 4-season state and I wasn't doing the work that I'm doing and trying to do the work that I'm doing.
Does your gas come out of your 4,000 that the town gives you? Or
Yeah,
is
they
that
just
on
paid me
top?
$4,000 and that covers me to use my.
So you
for
can't
guys
just
to
go
use
gas up your own vehicle like all those other vehicles we gave out? Well,
No.
why can't we give them a gas allowance at least?
Well, I have no
That's what
problem
that
giving
is.
them the $6,000 from 4 to 6.
That's what that is.
It still makes me nervous that he'd lose a vehicle out of the deal working for the town, especially as many miles as he puts on in a week or a day or,
That's a good point.
you know.
Yeah. but
Oh, wait a minute.
Because I do use a bed, and that's the one thing too, is I do use a bed. Like when I went around and was helping out with the sign removals and stuff and such sort like that.
Because the public safety director doesn't need a truck anymore because there is no public safety. The police chief would, but then you have the deputy police chief using a vehicle. I don't think there's 2 that needs to be used in the police department right now. He should get one.
There you go.
It's in their contract.
Yep.
They're on duty 24 hours, 7 days a
Yeah,
week.
they're 40 miles
forever.
away. So they, you know how many times they've been called in an emergency? None. So
That'd be a
that's
good
why
idea.
they've
Paul,
got a
could we give
vehicle.
him McDade's truck and have McDade take a cruiser?
Well, you'd have to list, yeah, because the deputy chief's in a contract, but the public safety, I don't know if the police chief, does the police chief has it in his
Yes.
contract? Something maybe to talk to Bill about. I mean, we can't afford another vehicle for this town right
I
now.
mean, that was kind of the perfect option was to hand me down that cruiser, but unfortunately, it handed down to the junkyard, so. Because that's what Fairfield does, their code officer, you know, they hand me down vehicles that,
Yeah, let's take a look and see if that, one of those vehicles are gonna
I
be
mean, that
freed out.
Corolla, I mean, it wasn't bought for that, that was a vehicle that we got out of a home foreclosure.
Yeah.
And it was in the garage.
So you have a car sitting in a garage somewhere
It's
right
out
now.
behind and under my carport.
What do you think it's worth? Nothing? To sell, to get something?
I was planning on selling it when we get rid of the other rescue truck that the fire department has, when they get finished stripping that one, the one that we just replaced,
Oh, maybe you could get enough for both.
you know? So I don't know what the Corolla, I mean, the Corolla had been parked 6 years when we got it.
Oh, it was parked 6
Oh, yeah.
years?
I mean, it's,
A Toyota?
don't quote me, it's like a 2006,
It's nothing special.
but it had no mileage.
It's great
on it.
gas
Right.
mileage, that's about
Yeah,
it.
they hold
So-
that value.
But that's
Oh,
why
yeah, they do.
we, for what we got, we fixed it up and, you know, serviced it and put it on the road, but
Is there any way to get him under an insurance somehow, so if there was an accident, that we could split somehow?
No, they wouldn't.
Least
the town-
cover.
No.
insurance is pretty tough. I mean,
Yeah. That's definitely something I think we should.
You have full
look into.
coverage on your truck, I assume,
Yes.
that
Yep.
you're paying yourself.
Mhm.
And if we up this to 6,000, you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I would like an avenue of looking. It's a hard pill to swallow being one of the most active departments and driving around the town forcing public safety. And I'm the only one sitting there in the means of, if my truck gets wrecked, how am I getting my kid to school? It's all out of my pocket, and if the town blows up and I'm driving all over heck, and then in the end, I'm the one that's eating it. I think that's the hardest part, and I think that the town would save more money if I had a vehicle, because like I feel like if you took $6,000, I feel like when you had your own vehicle you're doing, I don't think it would, it a lot to the same. But I feel like it's a lot of liability on me to service the town of Winslow, operating out of my own vehicle. It was a little bit different for the town of Benton, for the town of Clinton, and they weren't even enforcing MUBAC. We enforce MUBAC. That means every single permit, every single thing, I have to be on site for from 1 to 8 inspections. So I think that's the kind of aspect that we're looking at. That when it's come summertime, I mean, the ladies don't see me that often unless I'm running in to swap out paperwork. But
Well, you lose a transmission, you're talking $15,000 to
$10,000.
$3,000 depending on what the vehicle is just to buy it, and that's used most of the time. So when their
Right.
vehicle's a newer one, so you're talking, like you said, $8,000 to have it replaced, and that's not even half of what you're getting for
I
your
don't think
fuel.
6,000 is unreasonable. I don't. I just
Honestly,
hope-
we could look at doing the 6 this year,
Yeah,
and then next year, if there's a cruiser replacement,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
Hand that
I was
cruiser
also
down.
gonna suggest, maybe, let me see what I can get for those 2 vehicles.
yeah.
And see if, I mean, sometimes through like, state surplus, you can find some decent vehicles, like some of these cruisers, as long as they're not, a trooper that's been on the road. If you can find a supervisor's vehicle or something,
Right.
sometimes you can get some that don't
Yeah,
have
an
that much
SUV or
money.
something like that.
Yeah, or they haven't, they haven't been beat up like a warden. Warden supervisor doesn't go where a regular warden goes, right? And some of those are not in bad shape. I don't know what the replacement schedule is, but I can get back to you.
Yeah,
That'd
that'd
be
be
cool.
fine.
Either way,
For
we'll
the
take
sake
care
of
of you,
tonight,
Garrett.
we
Yeah,
add
I
the
think
si-
that's
Yeah,
reasonable.
I think so.
But I think that's reasonable.
yeah, that was the only thing that's been weighing on my head.
Are we all in agreement to go up to the 6?
Up to the 6 unless we find a vehicle, but either way, we should take care of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if we find a vehicle, then the 6 will basically not
Yes.
get spent.
Right, and then he'd
Well,
get a
it'll be
gas
spent on
card from the
vehicle.
town,
Oh, yeah.
basically, to
If it's
use.
a town vehicle, we'll give him a gas key, it's
Yeah.
no problem.
yeah,
So, and
absolutely.
he'll lose the 6,000.
Yeah. It'll stay in there,
Yep.
it'll be,
Yep.
Go towards that vehicle and maintaining it.
So who's gonna
and everything
change
else.
that? Somebody make sure that gets changed, right?
Yeah, I just updated it.
Thank you.
So next would be the equipment and maintenance. So that's just the equipment and maintenance of the stuff inside the office. That includes our printer. Telephone goes for the telephone that's allotted through, and I have a mobile device. Miscellaneous supplies, that's just same type of stuff, paperwork, supplies, pens. Seminars and dues, subscriptions. As a code officer, I have to have some things that I have to be subscribed to and I have dues to pay in. That way I continue to get information. Training, same thing. I gotta do training every year to keep CEUs up, so that way I can maintain my license. And then legal fees. So, legal fees hadn't gone used too much this year solely because I am a code enforcement officer that fights for voluntary compliance. I really try to work with the town and the residents to come to a compliance matter without having to push into courts. It seems like it's worked so far with the residents. I wouldn't want to change much on that because stuff could change. It could get to one that we wanted to deal with, and I wouldn't have the legal fees to deal with it. So that's the only remark on that. And actually, one of the training things I noticed, I've been so busy with town stuff that I kind of been slacking on some of the training. So I actually am one of the first few code enforcement officers in the state to be a code enforcement officer safety specialist. I took that class, and it can lead me up to being teaching these types of classes. But yeah, so that kind of sums up the budget for this coming year, fiscal year.
So we're gonna go $2,000 more on the manager's proposed from 106,250 to 108,250, correct? If we don't find you another vehicle.
Correct.
Okay,
And congratulations on your training.
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and I do want to say thank you. One of my constituents complimented Garrett on his great work, and I want everyone to know publicly he does a great job. Thank you,
very
Garrett.
much.
I've had a lot of success as well in my district with speaking with you and getting stuff done, so thank you, Garrett.
Yeah,
Same here, same to you, Garrett.
Yeah, I love working in the town of Winslow.
I brought multiple issues
Yeah,
to
I got a
you.
great team in my office. We work so well together. It's a powerhouse in there. And like what they said, what they do, it helps on my end. I can look through the window. It's just, the wheels are just always turning. It's not somewhere we're closed off and worried about coming up and talking to each other. I think that dynamic alone, like years to come, I think we're just going to continue to blow out of the water on what we're going to be able to do
Yeah,
for the
we've
town of
had some
Winslow.
residents, and we had quite a bit of correspondence, and I think it worked out really well.
Yep, big time.
Yeah,
So-
thank you for all your help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I appreciate the opportunity to.
All good? All set, guys?
Thank you.
Perfect.
Good job.
Where to, ma'am?
General assistance.
Page
Where am I?
Should be page 36.
36.
Okay, I
There's
think,
Yes.
Page 36.
I think I have two of the shortest budgets in here, so. The salary, I believe my salary's split up with, in part of GA. And then general assistance is kind of a required department. I have to follow state guidelines. I cannot not have a budget. If someone comes to me and asks for assistance for rent, and they do qualify under the state guidelines, then I need to pay, assist them with their rent. And as we know, rental costs are skyrocketing. I looked up just kind of what a two-bedroom apartment would be in town, and it goes anywhere from $1,000 to $1,600 a month.
Oh, my gosh.
The state does refund us about 70% of that. So we do get money back, but not that full amount. And there are talks of that changing. Also, heating oil is a big one lately, now that it's winter, and the heating oil costs are going up. So,
You said that there was gonna be changing, and you said talks about changing what? Getting
That way
more
we
than
would-
70%?
yeah, but that's not
That's not set
been
in
passed,
concrete.
has not been,
That's the state, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it could change at some point, but as of right now, it's 70%. And miscellaneous supplies, that's just kind of the cost of doing business, papers and pens, stuff. That's about it on that one.
Wow, so that total is assistance for rent and all of that.
Yeah, most people don't come to me when they're 1 month behind. They come when they're getting evicted, and then, it's a snowball effect. Or oil. This time of year, just to get 100 gallons into someone's tank, talking $300-400, and that doesn't last very long.
No.
So, we do get a lot of phone calls, but a lot of people, once they hear kind of what the qualifications are to get assistance, it's quite low. I don't hear back from them, but I do want I try to tell people, apply, all you can do is apply, and we're gonna try to work with you. So,
And I mean, to her credit, we've had after-hours oil drops from, the fire chief will go out and drop 5-10 gallons of diesel fuel to help them start a furnace for the night, if they can't get an oil delivery right off the bat,
No kidding.
They do,
Wow.
Yeah,
the guys do that, so.
I do have a town cell phone, because I don't want people to have my personal cell phone. So the police department has my personal number and will call me to deal with general assistance, so I'll return calls on that.
In the middle of the night, when they run out of fuel, you said?
Most of them are weekends. I've gotten a few phone calls on the weekends.
Sometimes it's just the idea that, they can't get a delivery, the truck can't get there for a day or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think last
she'll,
week it
she'll
was,
front them 5-10 gallons to get the furnace running for the night,
and the fire department will go over and put the oil in the tank, but will not bleed their line. They do
No.
not go inside the house. So,
And usually I think Mike is the one that does most of it, probably Mike Murphy, so.
Mike Murphy, yep.
Know that. That's something.
So, and then we'll work with them to get them at least 100 gallons.
Well, thank you for doing that.
That's a tough job. Thank you.
It is.
Yeah.
It's hard to, listen, we got a call from an elderly lady who needs oil and
Can't do
her children
anything.
can't help her, and I want to help those type of people.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm the nice guy, I sent them to Audra, because I talked to her first, and it's like, not much I can do. Audra, you wanna grab this one?
Is there anything in the state would offer for any emergency situations like this when people are down and out?
There are some state programs, but the state doesn't have any funding left either, or a lot of people have appointments that are scheduled, but they can't get in for months.
For months?
I think the last time someone said they had an appointment in March, and they called at the beginning of the cold season. So they can't get the funding until really almost the time when you don't need your heat
Don't need it,
anymore.
right.
So. That's it for that one, unless you have more questions.
Now we're on to page 24 for elections.
It's pretty cut and dry.
So, again, pretty minor stuff in there compared to some other budgets, but the part-time salaries are all my election workers. I have a large group of mostly ladies, there are some gentlemen in there, that give their time to me and help me do absentee voting in the town office, and spend, their 18-hour day with me at the VFW on election day. Our overtime budget, we did decrease that. Katie was my right-hand person for that, and she became salary. So the overtime, Vanessa had helped a little bit, any of the girls in the office. So that line did go down this year. Any election expenses, that's our machines. The state is planning to change machines. They have not picked a machine that they want for voting, scanning in the ballots. I haven't heard of how much that's going to cost. Currently, we have 4 of the older style machines, and that's almost not enough. I'm not sure who was on election day noticed how one ballot, the state ballot, that line kind of got really long, and there's no other way we had no other machine to use to get the people in and out quicker. Ballots, that's just the cost of printing, miscellaneous supplies, that's our pens and pencils, stuff that we need to run on election day. Advertising, we've got to advertise in the newspaper for stuff, and then postage, all of our absentee ballots, which more and more people are requesting absentee ballots, either by coming into the building and getting them, or having them mailed out to them, so.
The advertising, is that, you talking about the town line or the Morning Sentinel?
The town line.
Town line?
How much more is it for the Sentinel? A lot?
Yeah, I don't know the number off the top of my
That's
head,
why we
but
went to
the
the town
town
line.
line is, minimal, hundreds of dollars in a difference, depending on the size.
Per ad?
Yeah.
I've done help wanted ads, like on the weekends, and they're like $300 per weekend or something for something.
Yeah, we have to
Not
get like
too
3
big,
consecutive days, and
Right.
the
right.
town line, prints it once, and it's in their paper all week, so.
There was a question that came up earlier, a few months ago, about town line not being a circular paper opposed to a Morning Sentinel. Is that gonna cause us a problem down the road if we don't?
I haven't heard of,
That was actually approved through legal.
yeah,
Was
I think
approved.
Bill Lee
Okay.
has always said that that's a newspaper that we
Okay.
can use.
All right.
And prior to me, they used that paper.
Actually, I think it was his idea to go that way.
And I think, since I've been the clerk now for going on 3 years, and I have started making sure the legal ads are on our Facebook page and on our website to make sure we cover more ground that way too.
Okay.
So the election expenses, are you saying we're gonna have to buy the new machines?
I have, the last machines, there was grants done, and I think we bought some of them, but I'm
I know
not
we were-
sure what the
Right.
details are gonna
So I
be
know we
yet.
had-
I just know that
I
they're
know one year
looking.
we had leased some because we didn't have enough.
Yeah,
That was probably the last presidential election when I was kind of sitting in this seat again, but.
yeah.
Well, this last election, we probably had more turnout in this last election than we ever had.
Yeah.
That's probably why the lines are so long, too.
So, and then what has been happening with the VFW, a couple years ago, they gave the town the money back that they charged us to rent it as a donation. They gave some to Amanda and I think some to Paul.
Public Works got some, yeah.
But they had, they had to get permission from the council to accept the money. And Erica had talked to them and then they haven't charged us for that rental. That doesn't mean that can't change at any time. That's on them. That's what they want to do. But they could change in a vote anytime, so.
They don't charge us rent, because we had negotiated that down from what, 3,000 to 1,500?
We had, and they wanted to donate that money back to us, but that's on the VFW to agree, the constituents of that organization to agree to that.
Yeah.
And that might change, so I want to make sure that if that does change, that's budgeted in there as well.
Because that used to be, I think it was $2,000 per shot, so.
Right,
Wow, that's awfully nice of the VFW.
It's very kind.
so, and I've already called to schedule the next 2 elections in there, so we're good. I think that's it.
Nope.
No?
You got capital improvement?
Vital records?
Page 51, you have vital records, and was there supposed to be more money put in there for election equipment? It's not listed, but that would be your voting machines.
I didn't print that page off.
We
Sorry.
currently have $6,370, and I don't remember how much we were quoted to buy a new machine.
I don't think we've been quoted for any machines yet, because they haven't picked the machine.
But there's no money at all right now.
So it would be nice if we could put some money in there.
But you don't even know if they're gonna do it this year, right?
I don't, but I don't know if they do it this year, how much it will cost either. So even if we could put a little bit of money to start banking that up.
Can you give us a ballpark figure?
I wasn't
After
here.
your research?
I wasn't here before, so I don't know how much they were before. These machines have been around for quite a while.
Do you remember, I had looked into it at some point to get a general ballpark, and I want to say $12,000. It was something
Crazy,
ridiculous
yeah.
like that, per machine.
Per machine?
Per machine.
I can imagine, they're pretty
Don't
complicated.
quote me on that.
They're
It
pretty
was a lot.
complicated, yeah.
Can we lease them?
I think they were more to lease. Even to rent one was like a lot, for one election
Wow.
was a lot.
But you don't have a heads up at all if that's going to happen in the next year, or 2 years, 3 years, nothing?
They have told me not to mail back the memory sticks for those machines because they don't think they're gonna need them because the new machines will be here, so. But no, I don't. They are actively looking into new machines.
Could you look into it, Audra, on the cost, if they go through, what a cost would be?
And
then we-
possible timeframe would be.
We can deal with that at one of the next,
Yeah, we just revisit that.
last budget.
Yeah, we're gonna redo the capital in the last budget workshop, so we can.
Yeah, also a time frame, like Fran was saying.
Yep, I can look into that. And also I have a line for vital records. Our vital records, our birth, death, and marriages in town, anyone as far back as you can go, all of those records by law should be in a fireproof vault or unit, and there is none currently. Judy has one fireproof filing cabinet that she's going to empty out and get into the front office. Paul's guys are going to move that once they have some downtime from their snow removal. That'll hopefully give us at least one and put some of those records in it, but we're going to need more. Roughly $2,000 per unit for drawer filing cabinet. plus you got to ship it, and that's a freight shipment. So also, we have a lot of books that are deteriorating that need to be replaced, fixed. I currently have 4 books off to, they strip them, they rebind them, they make sure the papers are covered, so they won't deteriorate any further.
Is it really expensive, you guys think, to do a fireproof little storage, like Katie's office?
Well, the front office girls are the ones that handle all the vital records. That would mean that they would have to come down and get that every single time they need a vital record. I don't know how expensive turning a room is.
If it would be cheaper than actually buying file cabinets for $2,000 a piece.
I don't know how, I've never had to look up to see how much it would be to build a fireproof room.
No, the room's already
Well,
there.
Paul, didn't we have some fireproof safes that was left at the school?
They're all gone. Nobody told us they wanted them, so they're gone.
All the
We tried
fireproof
to look-
safes?
I tried to look with Trevor,
The
The
ones,
and they were
cabinets?
locked.
the ones that came outside, they all disappeared.
We don't have any more in there?
I'm not gonna say yes, not gonna say no. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, check, because when I went with you, there was quite a few in there.
I know I remember seeing one outside that the boys took out, and that one
Yeah.
disappeared. But
Let's check and see if there's any
that
more.
was before I found out that she wanted something. Sorry, but
I did see a few, but they had been locked.
yeah.
And once you drill a
What do we
hole,
have in
once you
that
drill a
house?
hole, then it's not fireproof anymore,
Well, you mean in lock?
right?
Well, yeah, but
What's
you
in
can
that
also,
account?
you can also put new locks into those places,
Yeah.
those things there too. That shouldn't be an issue.
There's currently $5,647 in that account, and I want to apologize. I did not do the capital improvements page, but I apparently should have reviewed it a lot closer because was there supposed to be a request under there? There's not currently any money in there for any of the requests.
Yeah, I think whatever we put in last year, she was gonna put in this year. I wanna say it was 10,000.
It was 10,000.
So there is
That's
10.
a reoccurring line we do
Yeah,
every
there's
year.
nothing in there.
10,000.
What's in there
Yeah.
now, you said?
Right now, there's $5,647 in there. I believe that there should have been a request for $10,000 in there, but the line is blank.
Why would it be blank?
Couldn't tell.
So are we putting 10,000 in there? Is that what we're saying?
That would
'Cause
be
that's
nice.
What it's supposed to
And
be?
That's the annual set aside we've always done.
Well, we started it last year, but yeah.
Thought it was back to 23.
It should have been.
That's
Okay.
gonna change.
Well, I know we had talked about it before.
Yeah,
so-
we had talked about it and it never got put in there when we first talked about it.
Gotcha.
And then it got put in.
What was that one for?
Election equipment.
I'm sorry.
It's blank.
That
It's
was
nothing.
The 10 grand?
for vital records
Oh,
restoration.
vital records.
So if you
Yeah,
put
that's always
10,
been
that's
in
the
there.
5, that'll be 15 in there total,
Right.
right?
Right. We'll go look next week if there's anything left
Yeah,
in the school.
please, Paul. That would-
Because tomorrow my guys are working actually tonight, hauling snow, so there won't be anybody around tomorrow, but
Okay.
Monday we'll go take a look. And the same thing, maybe we can check, I know state surplus has a lot of stuff sometimes, I don't know if they deal with fireproof filing cabinets, but
Yeah, okay, good, Paul, thank you.
they have a lot of stuff available. Save on the freight anyway.
So are we putting 10 or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Makes it 15,000 in there. You can get one voting machine then.
Well, I'll take one. I'll have to explain why there's a long line.
Well, this is under vital records that we were discussing, right?
That- yes.
Not the election.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The election was blank, so I thought you meant there.
Both were.
The elections, maybe we can find out before the next budget, just, if you
Yep, I'll give them
if you get some information, we can throw something
I'll
in
send them an
there.
email on Monday.
Okay.
Thank you, Audra.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
What's next?
Insurance.
Yeah, do where?
That should be page 37. And I will
That's where I am.
preface this by saying this tab will probably change quite a bit once you remove my salary. The person that is replacing the front office position, the current person there is not currently taking health insurance or anything. So if the new person comes in, taking full benefits and retirement and all of that, that will raise it quite a bit. So it's kind of all up in the air at the moment.
And obviously, the group insurance, what was, Tanya, what was budgeted for group insurance? Did that include the 80%? Okay,
So this is updated to that.
this is updated to
Okay.
that request,
Thank you.
which it was assumed if we go with 80% is for all the employees and not just
Right.
PD.
So I'm going to guess it should stay more or less the same, because you're gonna take out mine, but you're gonna add in
Add.
more for the new person.
I mean, it basically is what it is.
Right.
How about Main State Retirement? Does that reflect the new
Why is
request? The new
unemployment
request?
like that? Do you see unemployment?
That's typical.
469%? Or is that another bad number? 469%?
That's correct.
Well, you only had 2,500 in there, and you've paid out the 11,000, so.
Oh. We only had 2,500 in there, we paid out 11,000.
Yep.
On unemployment?
I think there's only one, but.
I believe there's
Oh.
two.
Two?
Two people on there at the moment.
Do you update on us, should update us on that page? Sherry, I guess. For the next one?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's police liability? What is that? Just insurance for,
There must be a specific insurance to cover them for.
Yep.
If they do something wrong, and it's their fault and we get sued,
no.
we have
the
insurance
neighbors
for it.
Is that part of their qualified immunity or whatever?
Possibly.
Well, some type, if they, what was the last one we paid? Unnecessary assault or something or other, or whatever, well, that was years ago.
Yeah.
But that's just to protect them.
The bottom one, obviously, is that new law that started with paid family medical leave that the town puts in 0.5% and the employee puts 0.5%, so. She's working on, we may be able to get exempted on that. There are some exemptions. I know BIW is looking into it as well, but.
What do you think they're trying to fight under, because they're under a current contract? What's the fleet and marine?
That's all of our equipment, like our backhoes and anything that's not a motor vehicle. Well, no, it's fleet, it's all the equipment, it's all the trucks, cars, anything that we insure. Which is really not that bad for the amount of vehicles we have on the road, but.
Oh, all right, marine must be from fire department then.
Yeah.
Well, what they call marine is like a backhoe is considered under the marine because it's not a road vehicle. You know, and like compactors that we might insure, or the small sidewalk machine, stuff that is not a vehicle that's designed to go on, they go on the road, but they're not considered a
Not
road vehicle,
registered,
like a pickup truck.
Okay.
They're not registered, Paul.
Oh, they're all registered.
No, your sidewalk plows and stuff.
Oh, yeah, they've all got plates on them.
Oh, they are?
But they're not considered a
But it's
motor
not considered a
vehicle.
motor vehicle, it's not something you're gonna go to Hannaford with, you know?
You still wait?
I got a question on the paid family medical leave in '24. We didn't we didn't do anything on it, and it was $2,866. And now the manager proposed to put 21,000.
That's the new law that came
The new law.
effective
Governor Mills.
January 1st?
Right in there.
Oh, that's that 3 month?
Yes.
That's that
I
3 month
honestly
thing?
don't know why there's even anything in that account, because that account hasn't even been made yet.
Right.
So the 2,866, no clue where that came from. 1,395, no clue where that came from. It just started last month. Paid family medical leave just started last month.
January 1st, right? Yeah.
January 1st, correct.
Isn't
That's
that
where we pay the 0.05%, and the employees pay 0.05%, but I don't pay it until, it's paid quarterly, that's the state requirement.
Isn't that
So
gone,
we just started that. So
isn't
that's-
that gone back to voting again on that?
If
No.
it has, it won't, they won't let municipalities know until then, but we still have to continue to pay
Mm-hmm.
until anything's changed, which we're
Right.
really hoping it is.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Janet.
It kind of sucks, you know, you give the employee a 3% raise and poof, you take 0.5% already just to fund this, so.
Yeah.
You know?
It's something that may be never used.
No, because, I mean, with our sick time
And
and
some
everything.
people do take advantage of it.
Yeah. But we're paying for all the other employees who don't have those benefits in other employers, you know?
Tanya, I know on the insurance, it goes up every year, but this includes what we agreed upon at one of our first meetings, right?
Correct.
Thank you. I just didn't want any surprises.
But also, the health insurance period,
It goes up.
it went up 9% this year, and our dental went up 1%. That's actually the highest it's ever gone up. Usually, our health usually goes up maybe 3 to 4%, it actually went 5% this year.
Did we lose Lee?
We lose the one.
The closest plug-in is way over there.
Oh. Your,
Oh,
your computer died?
I guess so.
Yeah.
We good to move on?
Page 26 for information technology.
Nothing we can do there.
Yeah. Well, that's a big one, huh? Yeah.
So who falls under what on that? As far as, like, maintenance contract?
Oh, goodness. Without digging into it, I couldn't tell you off the top
Okay.
of my head.
I said, take it and run with it.
Yeah. Well, no, I really don't know, and I figure if I don't know, then the council probably doesn't know either, so I'm trying to find out.
Got copiers, just for copiers, and revise.
So that's the copiers. Obviously, Munis is self-explanatory.
So nobody knows what any of these numbers even represent then?
She just said the maintenance contracts are the copiers. Munis is the system that we largely use in the main part of our building. It's what our vehicle registrations, taxes, accounts payable, just about everything is through. Application software, I'd have to look at the account, if you give me a second.
21,000 for copiers?
Apparently.
It's IT too.
It's our IT
Oh,
services.
the IT is.
I thought we had IT on another line.
Well, each department pays a percentage to
So we
IT.
pay a percentage every month, and this is where the admin portion is going on here, is going to this line item. So it's your copiers, it's our website, and it's our IT services monthly. That goes to the maintenance contract.
Our application software is the Asset Essentials contract that unfortunately we are stuck in for another 2 years at this point. But we are getting rid of that as soon as we can get out of it. Wi-Fi licensing, the Mitel support, so that's the phones, and Office 365 and email licensing.
Didn't go up much.
Not a ton.
Next.
I think
That's it.
Well, that's too bad.
If you had insomnia, this should clear it.
So at this point, go into executive session.
Yep.
Ex-
Before we do that, could I just say one thing? Katie, it's your last time here. I want to thank you for the job you've done for the town of Winslow, and it's sad to see you go.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Motion to enter an executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA subsection 405-6. Disposition of real property.
So moved.
Second.
Whatever else the other acronyms are in there.
Yeah, it doesn't,